Dr. Collins on behalf of Advanced Orthogonal Institute, and we're going to take a little break from the in-depth analysis tutorials and start a new series called Reasons to Go AdvO. So I'd say probably number one reason to go AdvO, and what I want to focus on in this video, you're looking at it. It's a Spinalight table. This is basically indistinguishable from Advanced Orthogonal, is your Spinalight table. And if you are an advanced orthogonal practitioner, you know how lovely it is to have an AdvO table. It is truly a Cadillac, and there's a new AdvO table that's out and about now. So, by way of disclaimer, I got my notes here. The goal of this video is not to attack any other groups. I just really love AdvO, and I love our tables. I love the kind of work we do. We're all really proud of it. And so please don't take this as a personal attack, but I'm going to be raving about how much I love AdvO and why you should too. But let's talk about it. So the tables have been a hot topic of debate. You know, a lot of people have been curious, why has AdvO been rather quiet the last few years? And it's because of these tables, right? We had to get our 510K with the FDA sorted out. So that's a really nice thing, is that's all done. You don't have to worry about that. We needed a manufacturer for these new tables. And Advanced Orthogonal Institute had to sign a contract with Spinalight. This is all done. It's all buttoned up. So we're ready to go. If you are wanting to practice upper cervical, this type of work, AdvO's got it dialed in. So let's go into these reasons. I'm going to give you four reasons why you should go AdvO. Well, specifically why the table's so great. But here's your four reasons. Number one, it's easy on your body. Man, this is an easy way to do upper cervical in terms of the wear and tear on your body. And to kind of drive this point home, I want to ask a few questions. Again, not an attack on anybody else, but a few questions. All right, you ready? Will the way that you're practicing damage your body long term, the way you do upper cervical? Can you see a high volume of patients, or will your lumbar spine be your bottleneck? Will you be able to practice for as long as you want, or potentially be forced into early retirement and have to take out an insurance policy on your body and go into teaching? And clearly that's not hypothetical. That was actually one of my professors at Palmer, who will remain nameless. But, you know, can we practice for as long as we want, or are we going to have to worry about retiring early because of our back? So these are tough questions. But, right, if you're a student or you're trying to set up how you're going to be practicing, you know you want to do upper cervical, you're not sure what technique to choose, I think it's worth asking these kinds of questions on the front end. And, you know, these AdvO tables check off a lot of boxes that mitigate that kind of liability. And, you know, these are not cheap. These tables are not cheap. But I hope to make this point, which is, I'm going to use Dr. Pierce as an example. Let me see if I can cue this guy up here. A lot of us know Dr. Pierce, right? Look at this guy. This guy right here practiced for 54 years, recently retired a couple of years ago, pushing 80. And he retired not because he put a lot of wear and tear on his body at all. He retired so he could go travel with his wife, you know. And I think he is a great testimonial for how amazing these tables are and why they're such a blessing with AdvO. Is he didn't have to retire. He could have practiced longer. He was so in love with the results he got with his patients, and he didn't have to step away because he was bending over 100 times a day. You know, his back wasn't giving him trouble. He could have done this for longer, and he was able to. He got to have the privilege of retiring when he wanted to, when he was ready to go on to, you know, traveling and doing some different things with his life. And I hope that for every single upper cervical practitioner, is that the physical wear and tear on your body should never be, you know, a liability. It should never be the thing that forces you into retirement. All right, so number 2. It is amazingly accurate. And by way of Dutch, this is the Spinalight Facebook page, right? He kind of goes into some of the what's going on with these new tables is being able to adjust on that.
You guys are new True Y assembly. I know that's what most has been talked about. The nice thing about ours is that when you unlock it, it can pivot.
Right. So we can get the height
up to 20 degrees
on the arm. And
in each
now
direction.
Also,
this occurs.
How cool is that?
Along the patient's true Atlas rotation, and allows the practitioners that are interested in that to be able to facilitate that.
Pretty
so
cool.
Placing it.
So now, along with that as a new update relatively for AdvO tables, I think it's worth mentioning that every single one of your factors in your analysis, so your not to get too technical, but your Atlas tilt, its rotation, the angle of your cervical spine, all of these components will directly link up with table influences. So I got this neck dock one in here. So when you're setting up your patient, it is really nice being able to address each one of those x-ray factors you see me setting up here. And my energy can be on my patient, right? I can be looking up at that computer screen, and I can influence each one of those shoulder, S to I, A to P, the tilt for rotation on Atlas, the height. All of these are directly related to ingredients, line items on my x-ray analysis. And now when I take my post x-rays after I've deployed the influences that should be associated with that pattern, now I've got post x-rays that show me that ACD didn't reduce. I can go back to my post x-ray interpretation and it will show me what I need to do different on my table setup and how I influence them using the Spinalight table to address any factors that might have kicked up or didn't reduce as well as I'd like. That is amazing. That is incredibly accurate to be able to do that using this table. So let's see here. Again, the mechanical shoulder piece is lovely. And I think one of the overlooked aspects is because I am down in that crouched position, right? Let me get back there. This is where I live when I'm doing this adjustment. This is I can do everything I need to do from this little catcher's position here. One knee down, looking at my films. I have a knob to adjust the shoulder S to I, A to P. I can hit that little toggle switch on the pillow, but the headpiece for angle, I can change the height all right there. I don't have to get up, come over them, try to maneuver them, come back down. I can do everything right there. So my energy is going into my patient, right? This is something that's easy to overlook. My energy is not going into how my body is set up over this patient to try to address all of their factors. My awareness, 100% of my energy is going into translating those x-rays into a clean correction and the patient's position, where their tension's at, and if we are addressing all of those factors on their x-ray. All right. Number 3. Again, this is not an attack on anybody. Number 3, consistency. So to recap, it's easy on your body, amazingly accurate having these tables. 3 is consistency. And again, by way of question, if we're being honest, is your body even physically capable of bending over? And I'm not talking to the young docs or the docs who are in shape. You're working out, you're swinging kettlebells, you know who you are. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those of us out there that maybe you're fragile. Maybe you're not that strong. Maybe we're out of shape. We're not where we should be physically. And we're putting this chronic tension on our posterior chain, bending over, stretching our hamstrings, are we even physically capable of delivering an accurate correction, if we're being completely honest? Some of us. Next question, do your patients get the same quality correction at 6 p.m. that they do at 9 a.m.? Right? When I've done 100 of those in a day, are my hamstrings in the same kind of physical condition that they were at 9 a.m.? Can your body get into these positions and deliver that same quality of correction or better into your 50s, into your 60s, into your 70s? If you're a student, you need to be thinking about this, right? If you've invested into the equipment to be able to do a certain procedure, are you going to be able to do this in your 50s, 60s, and 70s like Dr. Pierce and not bat an eye, right? Because our patients deserve accuracy and consistency. Doesn't matter how good we are at adjusting if we can't do it repeatedly, right? If we can't provide that quality repeatedly, that is the unique selling proposition of upper cervical, right? I have no doubt that Dr. Pierce was delivering top notch into his 70s, not a doubt, because the table allowed him again, it's a privilege to perform a technique without wear and tear on his body and not putting him in demanding positions. All right, number 4. And if these weren't contentious enough, this might be the most. When we're talking about these tables, number 4, again, to recap, it's easy on your body, incredibly, amazingly accurate. 3, consistency. 4, reason why Spinalight tables rock and you should go AdvO. You can buy a table. Not everybody can buy a table, but you have the option to buy a table. Not every group lets you even own a table. Maybe if you're not in good standing with a group, politically, you may not. I don't know. I don't want to ruffle too many feathers. But with advanced orthogonal, if you're trained and you can do the work, you're going to be equipped. And you can own a table. And again, listen, I know these things aren't cheap. Right? These are not cheap. But I would argue, hear me out. And there's a few that are circulating used that come up, but I would argue, as a student, besides your x-ray machine, when you're talking about equipment, these tables, the longevity of practice that you will be able to practice, the protection it will be on your lower lumbar spine over the years, they're worth every penny. It's an investment. But you can own your own table. You don't have to just lease it. Right? So these were some of my different ideas. You guys can let me know what you think. Hopefully that wasn't too contentious. But if that made sense, I hope that you will come train with us at our June boot camp, 24th through the 28th. Almost a month away. And you can learn about these glorious tables and how they can help you deliver consistent world-class adjustments that will save your back and also save you potentially from a never-ending lease. I don't know. But join us. Come hang. If you guys have any questions, I wanted to start this new series, maybe for students. I've been getting a little technical on the x-ray analysis videos. I got a little feedback that maybe that was a little too in-depth, as much as I love it. But I'll talk about some of these issues that might pertain to people thinking about what path they're going to pick, or if they're, curious where to go from here. But leave us a comment, hit a like, check out the website, sign up for a seminar. Hope to see you there in June. God bless.